Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NECC second channel. We've got some League of Legends coming at you very, very soon. I am Paladino here with Sofchan. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. So happy to be casting with you tonight. NECC 2 sometimes can be treated like a little bit of an underdog, but we definitely bring such incredible play nonetheless. And how excited are you for Carroll University versus Husky Gaming Red?
I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, you said it better than I even could have. NECC, it's not to be underrated. We've got some great gameplay coming at you very, very soon. The draft was already done in a secondary client, and it's already finished, so we will be starting up here soon as well. But this is a good one, especially just looking at the list of these teams, how they stand in the Emergence Heartland division. Carroll comes in at 5-1. Husky Gaming Red 4-2. So these are two, top of the ladder teams hoping to secure the highest seed possible for the upcoming playoffs.
Yeah, and it's something that they have been playing all the season for, right? But the final 2 days, this week, next week, really makes you feel like there's a little bit of rush going into your veins and just making you even more excited, even more motivated to get everything you can get on the table because it's the one thing that's going to change the seeding. Because so far, yes. Sorry, production issues here. I'll just leave it to you, Paladino.
Yeah, so far we've had some tough competition here in general in this division, and they've stood the test. Carroll University only dropping in their very first week, in week number 1 to WashU Academy. They have not lost since. Whereas Husky Gaming Red, they started off on a 3-game win streak through weeks 1, 2, and 3. Dropped their last, or excuse me, not their last two, but weeks 4 and 5 fell unfortunately. But they're back on the win streak. They won last week. So both these teams really looking to keep up the momentum. I think that's one thing that's really underrated and maybe not talked about as much when you go into playoffs in a competitive sense of anything. You really want to come in on a win streak, feeling confident, feeling good. Both these teams are hoping to do that with just this week and next week left of the regular season to go into playoffs on a high note and hopefully make a deep run. So I'm looking forward to it. Like we said, two very competitive teams, so it should definitely be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, it's the moment that's going to be decisive. One team, Carroll University, with a record of 5-1, so many wins to their name, and Husky Gaming Red with 4-2. As we jump right into the draft here, some of the bans have already been finished, some of the picks as well. So, do you mind giving me a little look on it?
Yeah, sure. Like I mentioned before, this is just drafting inside of the client. So this is not the order they were picked in. This is just order of the roll. But we can see the bans coming out first from Carroll University. They're on the blue side. Alawi, Lucian, Belveth, and Vex all taken off the board. Husky Gaming Red, there are 5 bans: Vi, Silas, Gragas, Akali, and the Zac. So we can see the top sides finished out for both sides now as well. Malphite is the top lane pick for Carroll University. They're going to go Nunu and Willem, Talon in the mid lane. Their bot lane will round out with Zaya and Nami. We can see the sides of Husky Gaming Red finished up as well. They're going to go Tom Kench, Jarvan, and Lux as their top side. Their bot lane will be rounded out by Zeri Lulu. So some common meta picks we're seeing here in game number 1, but some interesting ones as well that you don't see every day.
Yeah, it's true. One thing that I'm thinking about Paladino is that Zaya is paired with an army on this one when you don't have a Rakan band. So you definitely would expect the two lovers to go together. They are the most compatible bot lane in the game, aside from maybe, I don't know, Lucian Nami. Awful. But Zaya is going to be paired with an army this time. And Zeri and Lulu, I think Lulu is such a good support all around. She gets to protect everyone so easily. Very interesting to see a Lux in the mid lane. I think Lux versus Talon just feels like a solo queue game to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It gives me, yeah, right? It gives me, I don't know, flashbacks. Not good ones.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I think the solo lanes are certainly more interesting. Some picks we don't see every day. Lux Talon, like you mentioned, certainly not very common. I'm interested to see how that one will play out. The top lane matchup is interesting as well. We can talk about where these things were picked up. So the Malphite was blinded on B3. And the Huskies held their top lane pick all the way until R5. They went with the Tom Kench Certainly an interesting pick, not one that you see very often in the top lane, but one that I imagine is pretty good into Malphite. It's kind of tank versus tank, but Tahm Kench top usually has some kill pressure, good engage with the W, and lots of damage coming out from the Tongue Lash as well. The bot lanes, typically for months and months now, have been a point of contention across competitive play. You already talked a little bit about the Xayah being paired with the Nami. I think Nami's just the most played for Casper and solo queue, or at least one of them, so much more of a comfort pick. I, of course, I'm agreeing with you there with the Xayah Rakan being something that should typically be paired together, but even though Nami has, in about a year now, been commonly paired up with the Lucian, I like the pairing up with the Xayah as well. Xayah's just so incredibly strong right now. Once the Navori quick play changes came in, she just really, really skyrocketed up the ladder in solo queue, and Nami's always going to do well with buffing her allies, and Xayah will definitely need it as well. Zeri Lulu is one that's always going to be very, very common, and Zeri's been around since she came out. She had a little bit of a dip there a couple months after with some nerfs, but she is back and in full force, and being paired with an enchanter to buff up the damage will not hurt at all. But now that we've seen these two sides come together, we already talked about some interesting picks, some more common ones. Soph, what are you thinking here in regards to who you favor going into game number 1?
I think it's a little complicated because in regards to all the lanes aside from mid lane, the game seems very even on both sides. You have Malphite, you have Tahm Kench, very tanky, both of them. Get to do a lot when in regards to team fights. Definitely Malphite doing more in regards to engaging, Tahm Kench doing more in regards to peeling. Nunu and Willump, Jarvan 4, both of them have good possibilities for ganks in the early game. Jarvan definitely with more damage. Nunu Willump with a little more mobility maybe. In the bot lane, Xayah Nami, as you said, I think if you pair up nicely the bubble with the callback of the feathers, you're going to do a lot of damage, get some extra snare on it, so it can be very helpful. Zeri and Lulu, they can be super defensive. They can just be very safe in how they play if they worry that Xayah and Nami are going to be a little too aggressive. So I think it's very even overall. It's just the mid lane that really strikes a difference for me. And Talon Lux, as for my experience as a lover of Lux, it's just sad. And that's all I have to say. Playing against Talon is just sad. You have to do an incredible level 1 to level 3 to be able to put him under the tower, like when you're playing against a Katarina or a Yasuo or something similar. You want to try to exploit the fact that you are ranged, that you're going to have some poking ability and some potential to control the wave and deny the farm. But if Talon can go in on you and you're unprepared, maybe a split second of a reflex can cost you your life. So I think if there is something that might dip during the game, it might be mid lane, and unfortunately, it might be the Lux.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting matchup. You already talked about it. I mean, Lux can certainly abuse the advantage at really early levels, like you mentioned, but definitely has to be careful around levels 5, 6, when Talon has the ability to jump on your head. He does so much damage, especially with the Electrocute as well. But if Zerd is able to poke him out a little bit in the early game, it might make the all-in a little bit easier. Also going for the defensive barrier, which should help out at least a little bit in the matchup in the 1v1, but we'll have to see how things progress as we get into game here. Just looking across the Rift, looking at runes and summoner spells, typically, some more common things that we see very frequently. The one thing that I'm interested in is the decision of Brockalayak on the Jarvan. No flash for the jungler of the Huskies. He's opting for Exhaust instead. So not something that I see very often, especially coming out of the jungle. I think every once in a while you'll see like a Karthus go no flash. Of course, Shaco, things like that. But no flash on Jarvan is certainly one that I have not seen before, and I don't initially love the idea, but I'm more than happy to be proven wrong, and I've seen Brockalayak play very, very well across the NECC, so I've got full faith in him to execute on the Jarvan today.
Oh yeah, definitely. At the same time, I do agree with you, Palladino. I think that if you have a flash with Jarvan, you can connect that very, very long range knock-up. So you come from one side, you start channeling the knock-up and then flash, and then it connects, just like the Vi Q punch as well. So I think not taking that just means that they're very respectful of the Xayah and of the Talon. I think that's what it means, because those are going to be the two big damage dealers, and bringing the exhaust is definitely to stop them somewhat in regards to dealing damage. But one thing that I wanted to say, I really wanted to talk about this. Did we see that Nami? Yes, Casper. Yes, that skin, Prestige Space Groove Nami, is just the one of the most beautiful skins I've ever seen. I don't think I logged into the game to see that happening, but I am in love. I just wanted to put that on the table.
It's a great skin. It's a good one. I'm now even more so just looking. I like to, especially in the early game when most tides are just farming up. We will see junglers start on opposite sides here in this one, and I'm not sure if it's a misclick or intentional. Zerd is the mid laner, but did go for Spell Thief's Edge on the Lux. So going to have some reduced gold here early on, but already a level 2 gank coming in from Nunu. Will land the knockup on to Snark, but no level 2 for the Xayah, means no pullback of the feathers just yet. So cannot find a kill nor any summoner spells, but Broccolaic, he's making his way to the top lane. He's got his eyes turned on to Tilted, trying to find a play. Taking a half HP already is the Malphite, but has access to the flash. Going to flash out really early, but the flag and drag will find the knockup, just waiting on a little bit more damage, and the damage is found. Broccolaic secures first blood.
Yeah, awesome there to see that we had both junglers going on opposite sides. They ganked the side lanes, but very nicely done. They managed to get that first blood for them, and even though they didn't have the flash, the Jarvan 4 was super successful.
Yeah, works out exactly as you're hoping. And he's going to look in the mid lane now. Turns the focus on to Green Runner. The root going to land, as well as the exhaust. Flash is still available for the Talon. Broccolaic taken very low. Ignite is ticking, but it's just a level 3 Ignite, so he will not fall. But blows both summoner spells of the Talon. That helps out Zerd quite a bit, as now Green Runner's got a really tough task of trying to clear this wave at very, very low HP.
We have two laners, Tilted and Green Runner, having no summoner spells on the table. A little risky for Tilted to be so advanced in the top lane, but bot lane, we have a Nunu coming along.
Yeah, the Zeri can just ride the wall, but unfortunately Lulu does not have the same benefit, so she is forced to flash. The second tower makes it to safety. So lots of summoner spells and lots of aggression coming out from both these junglers. I think it's what we expected, but both sides doing a pretty good job here. But only the Huskies have got a kill on the board.
I think it's very clever for Dio to go to the bot lane again, because pressuring that Lulu was very, very important, given that she doesn't have level 3. So she can't run that fast. She only has the shield.
Yeah, she's going back again. Another knockup. And the bubble will land as well. The pullback means that Skeetser grabs his first kill of the game. So now the board is evened out 1-1 as the Xayah grabs the first kill in the bottom lane. And Dio is certainly making it his focus to put plenty of pressure on the Zeri and the Lulu.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one thing that you really want to do against the Zeri. She can hyper carry so hard if you let her do it. So they're pushing in really hard here. They're going to get some platings. Jarvan 4 is arriving. Probably going to go over the wall. Decides to just go around. And top lane, it's the fight of giants as always.
Yeah, Tilted and Secretos just kind of smacking each other around. Health bars dropping to around half HP, but we'll see if we get a lethal angle here soon. Tilted is fully out of mana, so Kratos has got enough left for some more, but both sides will just back on out. Remember, Tilted does not have any teleport available to him here on the Malphite, but no pressure from a dive means he can just secure this wave. So Kratos will take his first base of the game. I mean, you brought up a good point. Zeri can absolutely hyper carry, so I love the decision making from Dio to put a lot of pressure really early on to the Zeri and the Lulu. If they can have a clean laning phase and come out even or ahead, it can be very difficult. Zeri is one that is tough to lock down, especially with the team comp that Carroll has drafted. So I like decision making. Set them behind, allow your bot lane to flourish, hopefully, and lead you into a win in the mid to late game.
Interestingly enough, though, the Zeri is still ahead in farm, which is very counterintuitive considering that Nunu was in the bot lane 3 times to be able to get the final first kill for their ADC. So interesting that they managed to get that much CS going. I was going to say the same thing in the mid lane. We have Lux denying some of their farm and poking out the Talon. So doing a good job as something that sometimes I don't manage to get success on when I'm in solo queue. So kudos to them. Zerd there doing a good job as a good enchanter and just poking around as much as they can.
Yeah, doing a great work. Brock now in some trouble, but makes it on out alive. Green Runner has access to the Shadow Assault, but not going to opt to use it just yet. Level 6s are achieved across all the solo lanes, both junglers still sitting at level 4. We'll have level 6 in the bot lane here in a minute or two as well. But first, the eyes are on the Dragon. Carroll hoping to secure their first of the game, of the first on Summoner's Rift, but now it's Green Runner could be in some trouble. No EQ, and now the bubble lands, and Zerd will certainly fall. Green Runner is there to secure that one. Now this Drake is really hard to pick up. The bot lane's already moved over, and Huskies are down a member. Brock is still hanging out here, seeing if there's anything to find, but now Secreto's potentially going for a solo kill in the top lane. Takes Tilted very low, and no mana available for this. Malphite means that he can't ult away. The knockup will land from the Abyssal Dive. Tilted should fall, and it's a solo kill in the top lane. So the Huskies lose their first Drake as the Mountain Dragon goes over to Carroll, but a solo kill in the top lane means that their gold lead is still increasing. It's pretty small right now, just 600, but still a lead nonetheless.
Absolutely. I think that it's important for them to get that kill on the top lane. They probably communicated that, saying we are probably going to have to concede this first Drake. Lux was down, so just take that as a chance to go on to Tilted. They don't have that jungler around. They are most definitely doing the Drake, so you can get that kill very free, and it's a nice trade as much as you can do in this scenario. Zerdo was caught there with the very nicely placed bubble from Casper. Both junglers are around here, bot lane, and we'll see some fighting happening soon.
Yeah, we got the biggest snowball ever coming in onto the Lulu. They're going to try and take down the second tower immediately. Exhaust goes down to Brocolite and to Skeetser, but Tilted has made his way down to the bot lane as well. The unstoppable force comes out and gets the kill onto the Lulu. Dio now grabs the one onto Brocolite. So Tilted with a well-timed roam into the bot lane. Still no TP available, but level 6 on the Malphite means he's got an easy engage tool, and now Carroll takes the gold lead for themselves.
Working very nicely here in the early game. I still wanted to point out that very nicely done by Huskies is still maintaining that CS lead on all lanes. Yes, on all lanes aside from jungle. Not actually a lane, but a path that you get. So all lanes here are on a lead for CS for the side of Huskies. That is good considering that they have been losing many things around the board. They have lost a couple of kills here and there. Now down 2 kills compared to Carroll. They lost the first Drake. So it's keeping that CS. That's going to be the one thing to allow you to buy the items, get the level, and allow you to be at least strong enough to fight the new objectives. Still waiting a little bit on the board to get those under 3 minutes for the next Drake. So we're not going to have an Infernal Soul this time around, neither a Mountain Soul. So maybe something interesting like a Hextech. What are you thinking? Yeah,
I would love a Hextech Soul. Hextech is easily my favorite. I like Chemtech as well. I think the added, enhanced plants are always interesting, but the Hextech Gates are one of the more interesting things I think that's been added to Summoner's Rift in recent memory. I love the way it changes the pace of the game, but we'll have to wait and see after this next Drake in 2.5. And with the priority that both these sides put on to going for this first Drake, I imagine we'll see another skirmish around there as well. The gold lead is completely even so far. It is important to note Green Runner does have that Rift Herald in his inventory. They gave it to the mid laner instead of putting it in the hands of Dio. So we'll almost certainly see that dropped in the mid lane for plates, but we'll have to wait and see when it gets dropped. He's still got a little less than 4 minutes to drop it for that plating gold. Brocolite is going to make his way once again to the bottom lane, and you can see Dio in the bot side jungle as well. He's moving his way up towards mid lane, however, so we'll see if Brocolite is able to find anything. You can see the bottom right hand screen. They did see him on vision, so the Jarvan gets pinged out, and instead Dio is going to turn his focus on to Zerd. The biggest snowball ever won't find anything just yet, but so far, still plenty of action. These early game junglers are certainly making sure they are taking advantage of their early game possibilities. We'll just have to wait and see who's able to secure these next objectives and really snowball into a lead. Only about 500 gold in favor of the Huskies right now.
And Dio moving to the bottom lane, they might be getting something here. Brocolike is following up, so maybe some backup is going to be enough to secure a nice defense. Oh no, Zeri!
Yeah, Snark has already fallen. Skeetser grabs the kill right in the very bottom of the screen. We saw the bubble land, tidal wave coming out as well. Just too much CC for Snark, and he unfortunately falls. Green Runner now all inning on to Zerd. The bind will land as well as the barrier coming out. Barrier for Ignite, but a flash is burned from Zerd as well. So, although no solo kill in the mid lane, they do get a trade of summoner spells. And no flash on the immobile Lux could make things a little bit difficult, but instead it'll be a solo kill going over to the Lux. Remember, no summoner spells available for Zerd. Now Dio trying to find something Brock-alike, trading heavily back as well. There goes the Cataclysm and the flash coming out from the Nunu, but now Brock-alike has maybe EQ'd his way into danger. Another incredible bubble coming out means that Skeetser goes on a killing spree as he grabs his third of the game. They're going to turn their focus onto the Lux, but not going to find anything just yet. So Zerd does a good job of grabbing the solo kill with a nice bind onto Green Runner, but just a little too aggressive goes Brock-alike, and he unfortunately falls, and that means the Drake will fall as well. Second Dragon going over to Carroll.
I think the one thing that allowed for Carroll to be able to get something out of that was that the Huskies didn't have any sort of vision in that bush. So as a Jarvan just going in with your flag, you having no vision, he faced 3 people and he's certain death, so that's not going to feel good for them. Fortunately, Zerd still kept a nice distance, so they were able to remain alive. But yeah, I totally agree with you. The solo kill from Zerd was super well executed. I wish I had seen the beginning of it. Or maybe they're going to exploit the Lux has no mana now, just enough for a bind, but nothing's going to come to fruition, so they just just stops the recall, won't find much else. I mean, it is important to note that the lead in the mid lane is pretty big here for Zerd, up 40 CS on this Talon, so certainly doing a good job of either forcing him off farm and doing a great job of last-hitting those creeps as well, even into the Assassin. And now Green Runner could be in some trouble, but it might be Brock-alike who we should be concerned for. It's Green Runner with a solo kill onto the Jarvan. Brock-alike tries to help out Zerd as much as he can, holding the wave in the mid lane, but the Talon way too much damage with that Electrocute proc Ignite not even needed as he grabs the solo kill on to the Huskies jungler. I think at that point it was just necessary to stop the lane. Don't go in the Talon. He's a Talon. He's going to do a lot of damage. And as a Jarvan that has been killed at least twice, it's not in the best place for you to try to get that solo kill.
Yeah, so Kratos just going to use his flash to get himself to safety, and now he's going to use the Devour on to Dio. He has no flash, so this could potentially be a kill onto the Nunu Absolute Zero for the shield. There goes the Unstoppable Force as well, but the ult coming out from Zerd, it's just a solo kill, so Kratos grabs the kill. The Abyssal Dive will not find the knock-up onto Tilted, and he dodges out on the Q as well. Just a Heartsteel proc will probably be all that Kratos gets onto the Malphite, but in the 1v2, he grabs the kill. Lightning Crash forces out the flash from Skeetser as well. This is a pretty big wave. We could potentially see Zerd and Kratos go for the dive. Brock-alike going to catch the wave here in the mid lane. We saw how this went last time, but we will not meet the same fate. Now Kratos looking for something on to Tilted, has a Grasp proc, but no slow means that the Malphite can probably just walk free, but the bind will land. No final spark available for Zerd, however, but they will get the flash out of Tilted regardless.
Oh, so close. It was just barely respawning there. The cooldown, it's gonna be enough. The Ignite to take them out. It is not. Oh, well, it is. Never mind.
Yeah, I think the Ignite plus the passive got the kill onto Brock-alike.
Yeah, I think so too. Very nice from Carroll to be able to manage something out of that when there was so much pressure going from Huskies in the top lane. So nicely executed. So Kratos pushing very hard, doing a lot of damage on this tower, going on Dio as well. And maybe Zerd is going to try to get something on Green Runner. They are a little low on health, but Nami is around, so they're going to be pretty healthy soon enough.
Yeah. So far, really competitive here. This game is dead even, 23 or nearly a half gold onto both sides, but they're looking for a kill onto Kratos, but Green Runner could be in trouble. The Heartsteel proc does quite a bit. Kratos not taking very much damage either. Turns his focus onto Dio, just getting Heartsteel stacks at this point. There goes the tidal wave as Casper could potentially be at risk, going to use the flash. Dio, no flash available and no ult either but just going to walk on free. Now Tilted turns his focus as the bubble lands onto the Jarvan. EQ comes out. We're going to see the ult going down from the Malphite as well. Zerd potentially in trouble, but they turn their focus onto the Malphite. They're going to find the kill as Secretos goes on a killing spree. They turn their focus onto Dio. Not going to find anything yet. Low health bars on both sides. Secretos lands a stun and the kill. Casper, remember, no flash on this. Nami should certainly fall. The W slow is plenty, but Green Runner goes on a killing spree first as he makes the turn onto Zerd, and he takes the Hex Gates to find his way to safety as well. But you can see top of your screen, they found his way back. Green Runner going to try to hop these walls. Brock Elias gets the kill, however. That's the Jarvan's revenge. He got killed twice by that Talon in the mid lane, but he finally gets one back as he grabs the kill onto Green Runner. Lots of fighting and stays pretty much even, but the gold lead now certainly in favor of the Huskies as they go up nearly 2,000 at 16.5 minutes.
And Java gonna feel really good now getting the revenge kill, as you mentioned. And to be fair, Talon accidentally just stepped on that bush, was warded, so it was going to be certain death for him. That's a nice secure for Herald that Huskies guarantees themselves now. So after all, that fight that lasted so long, it was super successful for Huskies, even though you had that final kill from Green Runner onto Zerd. They were almost able to escape, but finally finished off. It was a little even. I believe it was like 2-2 kills or 3-2, something like that. So it wasn't that catastrophic for Carroll, but still very nice for the Huskies because they managed to get the objective with that. And now the next Drake is spawning and all of Carroll is around the bottom path river. We'll see how this is going to go. It's just Brockalayak and Zeri Lulu arriving as well on a TP. Very aggressive TP from Secretos, but it deters Carroll's efforts. Green Runner just going to immediately look onto the Jarvan, but the Devour means that the shield will come out on to Brockalayak. He's going to stay alive for now, but the EQ will not get him out as Green Runner grabs the kill on to the Huskies jungler. There goes the Unstoppable Force going onto the backline as Secretos gets one kill himself on the backline of Carroll. This Malphite still looking for Snark, but not going to find him yet, but it's already a double kill on to Secretos, looking to turn their focus onto Skeeter. Now no flash, no heal means that this Xayah will fall. Triple kill for the Tom Kench. A winning fight for the Huskies. They might turn their focus onto the Drake, but it's important to note that there's a Blast Cone still available that should get knocked out now by Zerd and the second tower, but no jungler on the side of the board for the Huskies. The knockup comes out from the Abyssal Dive, looking to turn their focus onto Dio. Flash is available for this Nunu. Not going to use it just yet. Flash is away. There goes the Snowball as well. The final spark won't quite land, and this Nunu is just too quick. We'll see if they can get anything else, but not quite going to be able to. And this fight now has gone long enough that the first kill going over, leading to the demise of Brockalayak. He's already respawned, so they can turn their focus. They can stop the Drake stack. The Green Runner might have something to say about it as he goes for the steal with the rake, but not going to find it. That should be all as Green Runner finally walks away, as does Secretos. Overall, very, very winning for the Huskies. They expand their gold lead and they stop the soul sack of Carroll. Very close though. I think those blades were very close to stealing that one, but fortunately Brockalayak was there. And as you said, I think that it was a good play from Huskies to go onto Dio because that way you managed to land a lot of damage on him. It was just going to be a 3v1, so he wasn't going to be able to retaliate any of the damage. He was just going to try to run, and by running he goes to the other side of the map opposite to the objective. So by the time that Nunu has arrived to the top river, Brockalayak is already in the pit, so they get to guarantee the buff for themselves. So super well done by Huskies, how they control the map on that one. Very well executed. And wow, I just noticed Secretos is 7-1 and 2. 7-0 and 2. And I was going to say that alongside Zerd, I think that both of them have been shining quite a lot in the team fight. Haha, Lux is shining. Very funny. But I think it's definitely them two working together with devouring, taking Brockalayak out of the party, because there was so much cooldown spent on that jungler that by the time that the fight was over, Lux was there and she could do the damage, she could zone out, and then here we come to another fight.
Yeah, this is a 1k gold shutdown, and he's in a 1v4. They're going to land the root, but he does not take very much damage. The Wild Growth keeping him alive as well. Here goes the Cataclysm onto 3. It's going to immediately burn the flash of the Xayah. Tilted is the target first, but they're not going to find him yet. Secretos uses the Devour to keep him safe. Brockalayak gets plenty of healing from the Gore Drinker. Another EQ lags on to 3. Tilted still alive. Broccolite will finally fall, but it's already a double kill over to the Huskies. 80 carry. Make it 3. Make it 4. As Snark grabs the quadra kill for the Huskies and a clean ace for them as well. And they're just going to hit this mid tower and expand their domain even more. They try to go for the pick on the Secretos, who they thought was caught out, but he is way too tanky, and this Zeri has scaled. That was their first kills of the game, immediately going from 0-1-2 to 4-1-2. What a dominant fight for the Huskies.
Better call Snark a spark, because finally the Zeri is doing work in these fights, and it's, as you said, their first kills of the game were a quadra kill, were a decisive fight in the mid lane. They took down that turret, they took down that whole wave, so it's super pushed. On the other sides of the map you have the waves advanced for the side of Huskies as well, so working out super nicely. And one thing that I wanted to say is we do have Hextech gates as you wanted, Paladino, so we are going to see a lot of play that is going to be enabled by them. I think we noticed it was the same thing when Green Runner was trying to escape, even though Broccolite finished them off in that bush in the top river. It's still such a good mechanic to exploit when you're trying to get around the map. So considering that we are reaching over 20 minutes of game, it's the moment where we start seeing all of those bad boys coming into play.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're doing a great job of it as well. Just lots of fantastic play coming out from the Huskies so far, and really doing a great work to expand their gold lead and make sure that they can continue their domain. Green Runner is now the target of the focus. He uses the Shadow Assault to go invisible for just a moment, but lots of damage coming out from Zerd as she picks up the kill on to Green Runner. There will be an objective bounty claimed in the mid lane as the mid tier 1 finally falls, but this gold lead is really started to get out of hand, and now Carroll is certainly on the back foot. Things aren't over for them just yet, but one thing I'm kind of curious your opinion on, and now just looking at the damage diversity here for Carroll as we get to the 23-minute mark, is Secretos is really stacking armor, going for that Spirit Visage now as well, but he's really hard to kill when your true only damage threats are both AD from Green Runner and Skeetser, that you only have one item on the Malphite. He's going full tank, as is Dio. We already saw him in a 1v4 really come out unscathed. This Tahm Kench is going to be a tough one to crack.
Oh, absolutely. There is no way they're going to deal any damage to him, considering not just the armor, but the amount of shielding he can get. That's going to be hard to beat. And as you said, Tilted, stacking armor as well, would be the only person that could do damage to Secretos if they were going full AP, but they're not. Maybe we're going to see here Green Runner getting ambushed. It's just Huskies cleaning out those boards while Secretos still applying so much pressure in the top lane. That turret is almost down, and Final Spark almost took down Skeeter as well, and that's going to get ADC out of the fight pretty quickly. TP coming in too, and it should be secured very easily and safely finished off Drake for the Huskies.
Yeah, they get that one easily. I don't love the TP from Secretos. I think that Dragon was theirs 100%. He could have potentially kept up the pressure there in the top lane, but instead opting not to. You can see the entirety of Carroll here hanging out into the top side river. They'll know that Green Runner is here. The only one not here just yet is Skeezer, who just took that Hex Gate into the top side jungle, but we could absolutely see a skirmish here around the Baron as Huskies start this one up, and they know that they're on it. It's just a matter of if Carroll can find the engage they're looking for, find the targets they want to kill. So Kratos just going to buy space. Abyssal Dive coming out, lands the knockup onto Dio. Wild Growth coming out as well, but a 3-man bubble means that that's the engage they want. Skeetser finds one onto the second tower. Not going to find anything just yet as Dio grabs the kill on to Broccolite. Zaya is still alive, so Kratos is the only member left standing on the side of Huskies, and he will finally fall. We saw a massive fight for the AD carry of the Huskies in that last one, but this one is absolutely Carroll favored as they find their own ace and 3 of their own kills onto Skeetser. Absolutely carried by Casper. What a bubble.
What a bubble indeed. Really, this fish doing some work for the ADC, for Green Runner as well. And one thing that I wanted to say that starts off with the Drake fight, right? So I think I don't dislike that much the TP from Socrates because it felt more like they were trying to reposition because Carroll was going to collapse on them in the top lane, and hence why they were trying to scout something in the Baron buff. I think going for the Drake pit is more to reunite with the team and be able to rotate to the Baron pit. Unfortunately for them, even though I agree with that choice, or maybe Green Runner is going to be in a bad position here, very close to being taken down. Brocolaic says, one ulti for an ulti, but I still take this one. And getting a 3 kills for Skeeter is really the power spike that they were needing, just like Snark was for that quadra kill. So maybe Carroll's gonna have that extra oomph now to be able to fight on the Baron should they try to get something close around here soon enough.
Yeah, absolutely, and really doing a good job itemizing as well. You can see Skeeter did just finish that Navori Quick Blades off the back of that triple kill. You're going to see the Huskies immediately turn their focus onto this Baron once more. You can see Sismi pings coming out from the side of Carroll. The only member not here is Zerd. No TP to get there. Silta does have TP, not going to opt to use it just yet, but this Baron is melting. The TP comes out perhaps a little too late as they just need to finish this one. They're not going to get it just yet. Dio not able to get on in as the Baron will finally fall. Absolute Zero coming down. Dio is again very low. Should certainly fall first. But first, it'll be Socrates not able to get the shield down as it's immediately a double kill going over to Skeeter. Another bubble flash used this time from Casper secures that one. Snark tries to stay alive. It's another triple kill for the Xayah. So the Baron goes to the Huskies, but they lose nearly all their members as only Zerd and Snark stay alive.
I want to break it down for this Baron fight. I think the first thing important for Huskies for their secure was Socrates being so advanced into the blue side of the jungle, getting to do Dio as fast as they could. They stopped up their snowball, they zoned out their jungler so they couldn't get in. Brocolaic managed to get the secure on the buff, and then not only that, while Dio was getting into the pit, second tower pull him off them, so they were unable to do anything to try to secure for the Carrolls, and that was super well executed. But followed up was Huskies just getting caught up on the bubble, onto the tidal wave, and then the damage from Skeeter, as we have been seeing, was a lot. And unfortunately for the Huskies, they were caught up a little split up in the pit. So while one person had a means of escape, which is Snark with the dash over the wall, the rest of the team didn't. And Brocolaic was also going to be killed pretty soon. They are melting quite quickly compared to Socrates. So is Zerd when they're focused by Green Runner. So I think overall, it was good as they could have done.
Oh, they turn their focus first on a Skeeter, and he's stuck in a box. He will find one first, but going down now as a big EQ lands on to 3. Double kill already going over to Dio. Brocolaic doing tons of damage as it's already a triple kill on to Socrates. They turn their focus onto the Nuno. They're going to find it now. Triple kill for the Tom Kench. And the last one goes over to Zerd. It's another ace on the side of the Huskies. Carroll found 2 great fights in a row, but this one cannot go their favor. They've done a great job in the last 2 protecting Skeeter, but they just can't defend this time as the Xayah will fall. They run out of damage, and the team fight win goes over to the Huskies.
Yeah, and having the Baron buff, Socrates pushing this hard, the final spark hitting the wave, they've got the whiffed up minions, and they are able to take the first inhibitor of the game, using the Hextech gates as well to reposition, while Brocolaic is taking that Drake for themselves. Nobody is even close to contesting, so it's going to be a safe one for the Huskies. And I think it's super interesting because that fight in the jungle that we saw that led to the push from Huskies, it was Carroll who was actually trying to get an engage and a setup on them, and then all of a sudden Husky just turned everything around. What a dodge and a snare from Zerd here, maintaining a good distance and just getting themselves to safety. And Huskies managing to get the upper hand on a couple of these fights, even though Skeeter was getting triple kills on top of triple kills.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the main determining factor in this last fight we just saw that saw Skeeter fall really, really early is that Brocolaic and Socrates in particular determined they know what they need to do. They know what their job is. Your target is the AD carry, and Skeeter gets trapped in a box. The Featherstorm is not able to keep him alive. And once Secretos gets on top of him as well, even though, you know, he potentially had the support of the Nami and the Nunu with him, they just could not find enough. We see Secretos now pushing here, and this would be a 1v4 as the second tower walks on up. Now Green Runner hops the wall looking for one, but the bubble this time will not land. It does give a speed up to Tilted. Secretos is not taking very much damage. Snark, is the focus. Tilted is still in the focus. Secreto will finally get bubbled now. A big Shadow Assault, lots of damage. Absolute Zero will not find one, but Tilted will find the Lulu. Skeeter grabs the kill onto Secretos as well. Brockalac trying to find something in the back line. EQ's on out, finds the target. Is Dio. Zerd is still full HP. There goes the Cataclysm going down, looking for one first onto the Malphite. They will find one. So overall, the fight is a 2-4-1 in favor of Carroll. So much damage going down, but not anyone falling to their demise just yet, with the exception of Secretos. You can see the Huskies now turn their focus to this top lane turret, and they will find it with those supers hitting the Nexus towers of Carroll. Zerd playing for the inhib as well, but not going to find it this time around. The Baron spawns in just above a minute. We're going to see resets coming out from the side of Huskies, and I'm sure both these teams will be playing for this massive objective as we approach these late game team fights.
Zerd and Snark played that really well in regards to positioning. I think that micro was super good. I think that it was good from Secretos to try to keep the damage on themselves. It worked. Well, he was focused. Brockalac tried to get something done on Skeeter as well, but the bubbles from Casper are just hitting every single time, so it's hard to get to the backline. But what worked well was Zerd and Snark being in a very secured distance and just keeping safe from Green Runner. There was the ulti there that hit most of them, but when you have Snark also getting the damage onto them as a talent, you have to try to leave, or else you're just gonna get kited out to death. And it worked out for them. Maybe they're gonna get caught up here. Oh, Green Runner!
Green Runner is in trouble. The Death Bush works to perfection. He nearly finds a 1-for-1. The shield bow keeping Snark alive. They did use the Zeri ult, however, so no lightning crash available for the AD carry of the Huskies, but this is immediately a 5v4 if Carroll even tries to make it to this objective, but it's already burning down and they cannot find their way in. Tilted is pushing there in the bot lane, trying to find something that is potentially an objective bounty if he can get this bot lane tier 2, but Malphite is not very good at splitting and taking these towers, so he's forced to just back on away as the bot lane of the Huskies makes their way to catch this wave as well. We'll see the other three pushing here in the mid lane. Remember, they've already got this inhibitor as Tilted makes his great escape out in the lane bush, but now Secretos and Zerd just hanging out in the base of Carroll. This would be a difficult fight with no bot lane. Tilted flash ult goes down on to Zerd, the Devour going out onto the Lux. Secretos trying to keep his mid laner alive. He's finally starting to take damage. He should certainly fall. Skeeter grabs that kill. Zerd looking for one as well. The barrier going down with the Feather Storm doing tons of damage. Green Runner will secure that kill with the Shadow Assault. I think it's just a little too aggressive from the Huskies. They don't have the members with them. You see the other three still pushing here in the bot lane, and they lose 2 shutdowns.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate, but it's still Brockalac and Snark going the second tower as well to protect the ADC, and Dio is taking heavy damage, so is Tilted. Skeeter trying to get away from trouble. Brockalac getting a little too close, taking those tower shots, but Snark is still taking down this turret. Inhibitor might be next. They go with the Cataclysm. Dio is almost dead. Brockalac as well. They're gonna go in. Snark very close, has to flash forward to guarantee the kill onto Malphite. And maybe this is going to be the final push, as Dio still has to go back to base, get to the fountain, heal up as much as they can. But this was very successful from the Huskies. They're going to take one inhibitor, 2 inhibitors, and a TB going in. They can use the Hextech gate now to go away, should they please. But really successful from this push here. Green Runner in the mid lane tried to fight Zerd though.
Yeah, no barrier available on this Lux. Does have the Zanyas up, but just going to flash instead. The Rake this time will not land. There goes the final spark. As we see Green Runner just playing for this inhibitor, but that is now 4 Hextech Dragons for the Hextech Soul. Zerd with the shield needs a little bit more damage, grabs the kill. So it is a 1-for-1, and that saves the inhibitor from falling as both mid laners take one another out in the base of the Huskies. And we talked about the Dragon Stack early on for Carroll, and Hextech Drake, not only is it my favorite map to see, like we already talked a little bit about, but it is so strong. Hextech Soul with the chain lightning slows, especially when you have someone like a Zeri, like a Lux, and you got 4 of them. That is a ton of ability haste and bonus attack speed on someone like a Zeri, on the Jarvan, on the Lux, especially with the bonus ability haste. They're going to have these spells up constantly, so many rotations coming out, and now they're just going to play for the end. We have the Demolish proc for Secretos. This could be the potentially last fight of the game. One Nexus turret will fall. Here comes the biggest snowball ever. Their focus is the Zeri. Not going to find it yet. Secretos is taken well below half HP. Now they turn their focus on a Brockalayak. He's taken very low. Dio still alive. Skeeter picks up the kill as the Lulu will fall. Snark still alive. Still stacking with the Lightning Crash. He picks up 1. Featherstorm going down. There goes the Absolute Zero. Snark still alive. Still stacking. Finds not one just yet. The stopwatch will not keep him alive. It's only a triple kill for Skeeter. Snark gets 1 in response as Casper will fall, but 4 members of the Huskies make their way into the base to try to end this game, but they cannot find it just yet. Very close, very intense. We've seen a big gold leads from the Huskies, and it's fallen down quite a bit now. It's still a decent amount, a little bit over 4,000 gold, but still, the Carroll is not going out of this one without a fight.
Yeah, they absolutely are not. And that was a very nice defense from them. Skeets are getting another triple kill scenario. It's just been them doing that the whole game. And if they keep on doing it for 2-3 more fights, they might be able to even turn this around, because at one point the inhibitors are going to respawn. There's not going to be a Baron buff available should they try to contest it and become successful. And with that, they actually have a chance to trying to get this thing around. But Huskies are still very aggressive in their positioning. Here they are in the bush. There's no vision from either side, so they don't even know if anyone is going to come around. Maybe they should put just a little ward there over the wall, please. It wouldn't hurt. That's where people spawn when they come out of the Hextech gate. Well, there you go.
Yeah, the ward finally going down. You can see that the Huskies are just keeping up the pressure here, pushing this mid lane. I mean, their biggest advantage, despite, of course, the gold lead, is there's only 1 tower still standing on the side of Carroll. That's their 1 singular Nexus turret still up. Secretos is able to take up so much space. Not only is he incredibly tanky with 1,000 stacks on this Heartsteel, he also does quite a bit of damage as well with this Tiamat in his inventory. The Heartsteel procs, of course, going to do a lot as well. A bubble will land on to Brockalayak, but they're not going to find anything quite yet. This Lax Nexus Tower is certainly their focus. They need a Demolish proc, but they won't get it just yet. Bubble lands, and Skeeter immediately drops Secretos, and a massive Malphite ult going down as well, but no members have fallen besides the top laner just yet. The Featherstorm coming out does not land a root as Green Order finally finds the kill as the Lulu will fall. The Shadow Spell damage still going down. Zert's still alive. Tilted grabs the kill with the Q. Brockalayak and Snark, the only 2 members left standing. And I'm not sure how much longer that'll still be true. Green Runner flashing forward, looking for the kill onto the Zeri. But Zeri's going to grab it first. The shutdown going down. Zeri not stacking with the Lightning Crash anymore. Rides the wall, however, to make sure he stays alive. But Skeeter goes godlike. Is 4 out of 5 members of the Huskies fall. Their gold lead was about 5,000 just a few minutes ago, and now it's only at 2.7k. I was concerned that they wouldn't have enough damage to take down Secretos, but so much pen and the shield breaking from the Serpent's Fang as well means that this Tahm Kench is falling really fast, and losing that tank means the rest of your backline is easily susceptible to damage. And with the Baron spawning and Brockalayak still not up for almost 30 seconds, we could potentially see their focus turn to this. They won't do it just yet. They're just going to grab vision, but I mean, Carroll's still certainly behind. They've lost all their inhibs. Their last Nexus turret is on 1 HP, but this game is really even now, and especially at the 40-minute mark, excuse me. Nearly everyone is full build, and it's all about execution in these late-game team fights.
Yeah, we'll see if maybe Huskies are going to try to get something sneaky happening with a TP, trying to get that backdoor, maybe. We'll see, because there's a lot of damage already being dealt on this Baron. And, well, as you said, there was 3 inhibitors down on the side of the Carrolls, so it was hard for them to try to leave the base, because if they do, it's going to be game over just by the minions alone. So they have to concede the Baron, unfortunately. And my prediction of maybe 1, 2, 3 fights and a Baron that would get Carroll's going into this game, it's getting a little hard, getting a little far away.
So Kratos looking on to Tilted first, but these two tanks aren't doing too much to each other. Tilted taken to about a little less than a quarter HP, but all their inhibs, with the exception of that top lane inhibitor, have respawned. So not much to siege here in the base of Carroll, but Elder spawns in 15 seconds. If you're Carroll, you know that you can potentially afford to give up a Baron as long as you don't lose the team fight, but losing an Elder with the Baron buff is way too much. And as these inhibitors have respawned, you see the wave state is okay in the top lane, and it's Carroll favored in mid and bot. The snowball will land on to Dio. He's not taking too low just yet. Kratos diving in. Lots of knockups in the back line as there goes the Absolute Zero coming down. Snark still alive. Has the Guardian Angel as well. They already pick up the Malphite. Looking for the turn on the Green Runner now with the Maul of Malmortius. Keeps him very healthy. Skeets are taken low. Skeets are taken down. It's a clean, well, not quite clean as Brockalayak will fall, but a nearly clean ace for the Huskies. They're just not quite able to find the damage they were looking for. Skeets are falling too early, and Kratos too tanky. They don't even need the Elder. They're just going to take out the base of Carroll. This one was certainly favored for the Huskies for a while now, but Carroll absolutely hanging in there, making the game go all the way to nearly 42 minutes. But at the end of the day, it's the Huskies who grab the Game 1 victory.
Yes, they do, Paladino, and that lasted quite a long time, didn't it? We joined the Rift almost an hour ago. That is definitely a big run for these two teams, so that's gonna be some time that they need to breathe a little bit, hydrate, and relax before the drawing board starts, draft, and then the next match of this best of 3. But to be fair, I think that the turning point was Huskies guaranteed that final Drake, right? You get the Elder Drake, you literally finished up the game, because at almost 45 minutes in Summoner's Rift, there is nothing you can do against the Elder Drake Soul. So you might as well just take the game with it, and that's why we even saw the creators doing the flash into the base and just taking everything down. So very nicely done from Huskies. Not that Carrolls didn't put up a fight, because they really did. Unfortunately for them, the advantage that Huskies built all throughout the game just, it really meant a lot, didn't it? Because when Carroll's was coming back around, it felt like they were still like 5 to 10 minutes that they still needed to actually reconquer that position.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this one was super, super fun to watch. I mean, we saw a lot of back and forth, even though it was a little while. We saw some very good team fights coming out of Carroll as well. I think my one impression, if I'm the Huskies, is don't let the Nami through. Casper was absolutely carrying those team fights that they were winning in those early stages of the game, especially around the Baron, that they were able to stop and dissuade them from taking. But that's all for game number 1 in our best of 3 between the Huskies and Carroll University. We'll be back with game number 2 here very, very soon. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to the NECC. We are about to jump into game number 2 between Carroll University and the Huskies. We had a banger for game number 1, 42 minutes long. Pretty back and forth, but the Huskies come out with the win. The sides will remain the same. Sophie, I don't know about you, but after game number 1, I am very excited for game number 2.
Oh my god, me too, Palladino. And to be fair, considering how I'm not going to say it was a close game. Okay, it was not. From the moment that the Huskies got ahead, they were ahead. But Carrolls were really, really fighting for it, and they were almost getting to a point where they could turn it around. So I think that we have a perspective of maybe a game 3 to our evenings here, and that would be bonkers considering that we had a 45-minute game.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think I would not be surprised if they brought us to that point. But the draft is already finished up on a secondary client here for game number 2. So we'll be jumping into draft very, very soon. I won't spoil anything just yet, but we do have some repeat picks and some new ones, some interesting ones coming out here as well. I already mentioned Carroll will stay on blue side here for game number 2. Huskies gaming red. Still on the red side, and the bands are mostly the same here for game number 2. Exactly the same for Carroll, so we'll have Alawi taken off the board. Lucian and Belveth will come out next as well, and some similar bands coming out for the Huskies. And we already mentioned some interesting picks. We'll see how those line up here very, very soon. But you talked about a little bit before we got into drafts. The Huskies certainly were ahead and had the lead. Carroll did make it interesting at times. What are you expecting Carroll to do here to not just keep it interesting, but secure themselves the win in game number 2?
Well, first thing, I am very interested to see Lucian, the Belveth, and the Alawi as their first bands. Well, to be fair, yes, we are having a look here at the draft after it was done, so it doesn't reflect the order of how they've banned things or how they are picking things, but it's still very interesting. You mentioned that we're going to have some repeat picks, so I'm excited to get to the point where we can announce them. So far, it's just been the Tom Kench. It's going to be a new pick, as in Shogath, Olaf, and Akali for Carroll University, while the side of Husky Gaming Red decide to go for that Tom Kench, as I said, and Wukong and Vax.
Yeah, certainly some interesting picks. In game number 1, the Akali was taken off the board, taken out of the hands of Green Runner, but he gets it here in game number 2. It is his second most played in solo queue with a nearly 60% win rate. So certainly a champ he feels comfortable on, and one that can absolutely carry games if given the chance. But the Vex is a good response, definitely good into these immobile champs in general, into mobility champs. Akali loves to dash around, especially after level 6, but different picks in the jungle and the mid lane here on the side of the Husky Gaming Red. Brockalak going to go for the Wukong, and we already talked about the Vex a little bit as well. You talked about picks being picked not in the order of the way they were drafted, just the way they were picked in role order. So that's why the Jarvan and the Nocturne were taken off the board here in second rotation, as well as the Malphite and the Maokai taken off the board by the Huskies. They're going to go for the Jinx instead of the Zeri this time around, but Skeetser will run it back on Zaya. A different pick here for Casper as they go towards the Seraphine, but it will be the Lulu once again for the Huskies. So some repeat picks, some new ones, but certainly similar identities for the Huskies. They had a hyper carry in the AD carry role in game number 1 with the Zeri. They're instead going for the Jinx this time around. But yeah, certainly some interesting picks that I'm looking forward to.
I think that what has changed for the Husky so far is that they chose in the mid lane someone very aggressive in regards to mobility and going in for the picks compared to the Lux they had going on the last time. Tom Kench has maintained the Jinx, super comparable to the Zeri, as you mentioned, being a hyper carry. Lulu with her, arguably one of the best bot lanes you can have with Lulu. Maybe Twitch could be a contender as well. On the other side, they go for the Seraphine instead of the Nami, which to me is a little interesting because Huskies did not ban the Nami, which was one thing that we mentioned could be a potential ban situation, given how many insanely good bubbles Casper was able to land to really make the the fight to Carroll's advantage. So a little different in that regard, what Seraphine can do. But they still have a similar ulti. Akali, very different there. It's going to be super aggressive alongside the Olaf when you have the ability of going to the back line, dealing a lot of damage, and high mobility as well to try to get out of there. So I think Carroll has been the one to innovate more in this match. So we'll see if, since Huskies won the last game, if this composition, which is very similar in playstyle, is going to be enough to beat Carroll in this second match, getting them a sweep in the 7 week of League of Legends on NECC.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. One of the things I'm interested to see how Carroll University pilot these team fights. Last game, they had really, really clear identities when it came to engage tools. You have Tilted on the Malphite in game number 1, Dio on the Nunu, things like that. Really, really easy to engage. You don't have the same exact engage tools that you're hoping for typically, or that you saw in game number 1. You do still have similar, like you talked about, ultis coming out from Casper instead with the Encore, a little bit more CC oriented, pulling the enemy team in to you. Of course, Tilted with the Cho'Gath knockup as well, and Olaf can just run in and do plenty of damage with the Berserk also. Similar identities, however, for the side of Huskies. They're still running back the Lulu with the Hyper Carry in the AD carry spot with that Jinx. Vex is one that can more easily follow up with a Wukong and a Tahm Kench. I'm interested to see how the Huskies will play around that top lane. We saw Secretos get really, really fed on the Tahm Kench and drop a couple times in some of those later team fights, but became really, really hard to kill. So we'll have to wait and see how things progress. But I'm really interested to see how these drafts will play out, especially with the change-up in identities and game plans, I imagine, with the changes in the draft. But what are you expecting as a result here? Who do you favor in this game number 2 draft of Carroll versus the Huskies?
I think it's a difficult choice because if we talk about how aggressive a team can be, Carroll definitely the most aggressive. They have an assassin. They have a very, very strong bruiser in the form of that Olaf. They have the Cho'Gath. They're going to be able to tank, also execute when they use their ultimate, but also getting some nice CCs going. On the side of the Huskies, it feels like maybe they're going to have a little bit of trouble with protecting that backline. If you don't have the Tahm Kench close to you in the team fight, if they're still in the top lane, if they still don't have the 14 minutes upgrade to the TP, so they can't really join, it's going to be just down to the Lulu. It may get a little heavy for her in the beginning of the game. So I think it would rely on how hard the Olaf is going to go for early ganks, how hard they're going to go for early invades, because it's not that Wukong can't defend and can't do a good fight in a 1v1 against them, but it's also the backup that the rest of the team can support them with. So I think, since I am predicting a game 3, I think Carroll can have a good shot on this one. How about you?
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think just from what I saw play out, I'm going to have a little bit of recency bias with game number 1. But because Secretos did so well on that Tahm Kench and Brock Goliath, played pretty well on the Bruiser style, now swapping from the Jarvan to the Wukong, that I'm going to pick the opposite just to make things interesting. We'll go towards I'll say the Huskies have my prediction here for game number 2, but we'll have to see how things play out as we hit Summoner's Rift now. Remember last game we saw these junglers start on opposite sides, and it looks like we'll probably have that once again. You can see Brock Goliath heading up towards their red buff, whereas Dio will start with the leash, I imagine, here on his own red buff as well.
We have some vision that has been tried to be put there on the top pass from the Akali. I don't think they managed to get anything over the wall. Yeah, they haven't. It was just a ping going on there. but I really like the party going on in the red buff. We got people dancing there from the side of Carroll. Okay, they finally get their ward. Of course, makes more sense with the timing on the board. And with 1 minute 25, 4, 3, 2, 1, we're gonna get to the first buff spawning and how these teams are going to transition in regards to early game.
Yeah, keep in mind, last game we saw really aggressive early game junglers who can gank at level 2 for both these teams with the Nunu and the Jarvan. This one, similar but not the same. Wukong really wants to hit level 6 and wants to hit that Divine Sunderer spike especially, so not as much of an aggressive early game jungler. Dio on the Olaf can play really aggressive early if he so chooses. Of course, the axe can do lots of damage, now shredding armor as well, and of course providing the slow some level of CC. He's also got a Cho'Gath to potentially gank, who can easily stop Kratos' Abyssal Dive if Dio opts to head that way, and it looks like he just might, going buff to buff, so should be going red, blue, Gromp, I imagine, for that level 3. We will see Broccolak opt instead to go towards red, and Krug's now heading towards the Raptors, so more traditional clear for him on the Wukong. But we'll have to see who decides to make that first move. Lots of early trading going on here in the top lane, making it very aggressive. Casper taken really low as well, already well below half HP. Not a good sign into the Jinx and the Lulu lane, but we'll be able to sustain up just a little bit. Has already popped both those health pots though, so could potentially be in some trouble if Broccolak decides to head that way.
Yeah, so far, nothing going on in regards to aggression. Both junglers are actually transitioning to the same side of the map. Well, don't mind me, Tilted is going all out on aggression, so Kratos dropping to 10% of their health. Ooh. Oh, the flash
for flash. Flash for flash means they both stay alive. No flash now on both of these tanks. That's one of the strengths of the Cho'Gath. Does lots of damage, but Broccolak could be in some trouble as Dio invades him on his blue, but Snark and the second tower now going to rotate on up. Skeeter and Casper to follow. This is a party in the bot side jungle. It'll be a 4 versus 4. They're going to focus on to the Olaf. Dio taken very low first as well. Broccolak gets ignited, but it'll be the first blood going over to Zerd first instead. Green Runner's still alive, but potentially in some trouble. Flash is on out to secure their safety. But overall, it's first blood and a fight win here really early on for the Huskies as they punish the invade from Dio.
Yeah, getting that first blood, very important for them, especially on the hands of Zerd, as you said, is going to be great. Snark is going to get poked by Casper, now in a more enchanter dealing damage than a engaging champion that Seraphine is. She can obviously get their snare, get their rooting going, but if you have a Lulu on your side, most of the damage is going to be negated anyway, because the amount of shielding this little Yordle can provide is amazing. So I think Snark is very much protected so far. They have some nice wards going for them. They have on the river, and I think that's the Scuttle Crab, and on the Tribush, so that's going to keep them safe for a while longer, should Dio decide to gank them soon.
Yeah, we'll see where these junglers decide to go. Still no ganks here in any of these lanes, but we can see Broccolak potentially looking for something here in the bottom lane. I don't believe he was spotted out, but Skeeter just playing naturally defensive. Dio hovering here as well. So Kratos still taking quite a bit of damage and down a decent number of CS as well. Here comes the Olaf into the bottom lane. Casper moving forward very aggressively. The second tower is going to immediately fall to the Olaf. Exhausting down to the Wukong as well means Broccolak could be in some trouble. Uses the clone to try and get himself out to safety. Flash forward means he'll stay alive for now. Snark turns his focus on a Dio. Got a bit of a freeze. Unfortunate timing. We'll see what happens. Snark gets the kill on to the Olaf. Broccolak and the Jinx might try to turn this one around even more, but not going to find anything just yet. It's a 1-for-1 there in the bottom lane with 1 kill going to the jungler of the blue side, and Snark going to grab the kill there on the red side. So gold on the 80 carry is what you're hoping for with this hyper carry style that is the Jinx. We'll just see if Snark is able to keep running away with the lead they've now developed, not only in CS, but the 300 extra gold from the kill as well.
Yeah, she's gonna have a very big wave for her to farm. The rest of the bot lane is going to recall. But one thing that I wanted to highlight is the very well positioned W that Snark had there. So the Zap hit the Olaf, then she got the flash away as well, which really kept her safe. Not only that, allowed her to kite them into the bush and getting them the kill to trade out the 1-for-1 in the bot lane. As you said, super nice that it was Jinx that got the kill on the side of Carroll's. They got the kill. Who got the kill was the Olaf. So still very good if you are Carroll's. Oh dear, this might not be good for you this time around, but the help from Green Runner is coming, and the 1v1 has turned into a 2v1, and the second tower with the Ignite ticking. There's enough potion to keep them healthy.
Yeah, the second tower will live in the 2v2, resulting in a 1-for-1. Casper has made his way to the mid lane, however, looking for something on the Brockalayak, but not going to find anything just yet. Got a little bit of a freeze going on, but I'm sure it'll be all resolved here soon. We can see Secretos up there in the top lane still has a bit of an XP lead on to Tilted, but nothing in particular just yet. As I thought we were starting to even out there for a little bit, but not quite going to. We'll have to wait and see what's going on. Hopefully get it all resolved here before too much longer. It looks okay for now. Cross my fingers.
Yeah, let's definitely hope that this gets solved soon, but we know that producers have everything under their power there to fix, because they're literally the gods of this production, of the broadcast, so they can definitely make things work soon enough. While we were maybe taking a quick nap, Olaf was rushing towards that Drake, and they're gonna get that one maybe uncontested. Mid lanes dealing a lot of damage on Green Runner, taking advantage of that that range, and with that they managed to take a lot from their health, but Brockalayak is gonna go down.
Yeah, Brockalayak falls in a 1-for-1 once again. The Drake does go over to the side of Carroll. Skeets are forced to flash on out. Pressured by Snark. While we were had a little bit of a freeze there for a moment, Secretos did get a solo kill up there in the top lane. Tilted falling, the ultimate used by Secretos, securing the kill, making him tank tower shots as well. Tilted holding on to the flash, meaning that he'll lose just a little bit there in the top lane. He had the early favor with the early trading and a CS lead as well, but that's all gone away at this point, as the CS lead is in favor of this Tahm Kench. Abyssal Dive will not find a knock-up, and no ult available from Secretos, but does have the potential to land a stun with his next Tongue Lash. Lots of fighting going on, and no jungle pressure just yet. The trading going back out from Tilted. He is down a level. Dodges out on that Tongue Lash, though, so that'll be the end of the battle. I thought maybe we could see Tilted potentially go for some more damage onto this Tahm Kench just because he's got access to the Feast. Brockalayak may be in some trouble, but has the clone to just dash on over. Now it's Secretos. They're turning their focus to Green Runner here as well. They're not going to find anything just yet. The Super Mega Death Rocket won't find a kill down there in the bot lane. Shuriken Flip does not land, so Secretos still hanging out here very, very low. Zerd, she's finally moved on up to the top lane to try and cover out on this dive. Brockalayak still hanging out up here as well, making sure his top laner remains safe. So lots of individuals in the top lane, but no gray screens just yet. The advantage certainly goes to the Huskies here in the bot lane. The Encore goes down onto the second tower, the Wild Growth. So just support alt traded for support alt, as Brockalayak is going to be pressured by Green Runner. Flash forward coming out. The Ignite going down to Brockalayak as well. Should certainly be a solo kill as Green Runner picks up their third of the game. 4 kills for Carroll, 3 on this Akali. And that could spell trouble, especially if you're Snark. A fed Akali is not fun to deal with as a Jinx.
Yeah, absolutely not. Zerd is going to be the one to try to deny something from happening there alongside second tower, because you're going to need all the protection you have available to you. So much damage going on. She goes forward, and with the Ignite, they finish them off. It's going to be the first kill that Akali has in the game, and a lot of gold for Zerd.
Yeah, lots of gold, picking up the shutdown and plenty of plates as well. Secretos forced to flash up there in the top lane. I think he knew that if that knock-up lands, he will certainly fall to the Feast from Tilted, who finally uses his first stack of the game. I was wondering when it's going to come through. Now level 8 for the Cho'Gath, but picks up one. You can tell both these top laners, I imagine, opting for that Heart Steel, making them so incredibly tanky, so much health on both these top laners, especially once they finish those mythic items. And once they do, I think the top lane sort of devolves to a who can get as many Heartsteel stacks as possible in lane. We'll see how that one plays out. But the bot lane advantage certainly towards Huskies right now. Finally some plates picked up for, or 8 plates, excuse me, picked up for Skeetzer. But a full mythic item already finished for this Jinx. We do see the Noon Quiver in the inventory of Skeetzer and needs to take a recall to spend some of this gold, but still down 30 CS to Snark's Jinx. It's definitely been a difficult one to navigate there in the bot lane for Carroll so far, but the game's still fairly even. 2.5k gold lead for the Huskies here at the 12-minute mark, and now we might see some action in the bot lane. Green Runner making his way down here to engage. Brockalag was looking for the counter gank as well. Dio now is going for the advantage. Cyclone coming out means that the Zolof's already taken pretty low, and Super Mega Death Rocket will give Snark a reset, but immediately shut down by Green Runner's Akali. Needing to get some energy is this mid laner as the Featherstorm comes out. Not going to find damage to kill just yet. Brockalag still standing, as is the second tower. The Shadow Surge going down, looking for the first kill. There goes one resetting, potentially looking for more. Zerd lands it on the Skeetzer. Remember, no Featherstorm available. The Encore is, but that's going to be a kill onto the Seraphine. Now remember, that's not the target that was hit with the Shadow Surge, so no reset means no triple kill for Zerd, but you cannot complain about 2 on this Vex.
Yeah, that was a very nice roundup trade that they got there, Zerd. With now 5-1 on the board, 400 gold bounty to that name. Really helps Huskies. We would expect to get that kill on the Xayah, but unfortunately that didn't land. We, on the other hand, have on top lane Tilted and Secretus fighting quite a lot. Secretus going down on health this time around, and Tilted lands another nice look up. Yeah, no flash.
Tilted, I thought, was going to go for the Feast stack, but just not quite low enough, as Secretos also has the ability to gain that shield as well. Unfortunately, I can tell Tilted trying to hold on to these stacks to potentially look for a kill, just because Secretos has been such low HP for so long, but just using that second one on the wave. We are approaching the 14-minute mark, which means Unleashed TP will soon be available. Only TP up in the game belongs to this Cho'Gath, who is just going to walk down towards the mid lane. They have the mid lane push and a Rift Herald as well. They might lose the Drake for it, as 4 members are just barreling this one down. The Dragon will fall to the side of the Huskies, but they can potentially look for an engage. Going to be rooted up is Green Runner. The Shuriken Flip did not land. Brockalag looking for an angle, has that Cyclone available, but now they know that this Cho'Gath is here. This is no longer just a 4 versus 4. Knockup lands just onto the second tower. Zerd potentially in trouble. Big Cyclone coming out, trying to do as much damage as possible. It's Brockalag, but it's Green Runner applying the damage first. Dio will fall to Brockalag's hands. Shutdown going over to Green Runner as Zerd will fall. Skeetzer grabs the kill onto Snark as well. They're looking for more. Brockalag cannot stay alive. Does get 2 in response, but Tilted grabs that one on to the Huskies jungler. 3 members fall there for the side of the Huskies, and that's just the benefit of your top laner running down. He knows that he got the wave pushed in. He forced Tilted to a very low health bar level, and even though they lose out on the Drake, they certainly win the team fight and recuperate some of the gold lead that was lost.
Yeah, that's going to be very important to them. They're going to try to push forward on this one. Knock up from Socrates. Green Runner is going to be in a lot of trouble. Maybe even the Lulu's going to take them down. No, instead Lulu gets taken down themselves. Tilted is going to be the last one. Senegaz thrown into the tower range. One hit, another hit, and it's a double kill for Socrates. Very nicely done by Huskies there. Recuperated what had been lost in the previous fight, but it's possible they're going to go running for this mid lane. You have the Jinx with you. You might be able to take down this tower, but Dio and Casper are there to defend.
Yeah, not going to be able to find anything yet. We'll see the bot lanes starting to rotate on up to the mid lanes here, but Skeetzer first going to take as many shots onto this bot lane tier 1 as they can. Zerd looking for the kill, though, on to this 80 carry. Featherstorm is available for the Xayah. Not going to opt to use it yet. Not exactly sure how this 1v1 is playing out so far, but it looks like, unfortunately, as I kind of expected, Zerd does pick up the solo kill on to Skeetzer. This Vex is still incredibly strong. As Snark in the second tower also grabbed that mid lane tier 1. Dio looking for something. Zerd Gonna go into the stasis to try and block out on some of the damage. Shields away the R2. Perfect execution from Green Runner, but it will not matter as another kill going over to the Akali. Lots of Fed members here in this game too, and two of them are the mid laners for both of these sides. Tilted looking for something onto Secretos, but not going to find it just yet. And the CS lead is certainly now in favor of this Tahm Kench. Tilted looking for as much as he can, but kind of has to be expected. Both these top laners just farming up these heart steal stacks, and Green Runner going to try and secure some more gold as the bot lane tier 1 will fall.
Yeah, we're trying to make our best of casting what's on the screen here while we're going through some technical difficulties. We are back to the top lane, Tilted getting ganked. We're going to have a lot of damage going on there with Brocco, that's the one.
Yeah, a bit of a freeze here as Broccolag looks for something with the Cyclone. Tilted should fall, but Dio tries to get something in response, but he might just lose his life instead. Will not. It'll just be the top laner lost. Featherstorm going down somewhere. I can hear the audio, but I can't see exactly what's going on. Skeets here forced to use the Featherstorm to dodge out on the Shadow Surge. So ult for ult from the mid laner to the AD carry on both sides here. The lead is starting to grow a little bit for the Huskies, as I believe they're playing for this Rift Herald. The Green Runner are going to flash away there in the bot lane as Snark in the second tower grab another tier 1 for themselves. They are really trying to make sure that this Jinx gets plenty of gold.
Yeah, well, right now on 3, 2, and 2, the Jinx has a lot to grow still. They finished their Kraken Slayer, but so has Skeetsa. So right now they are on par in regards to damage. The CS department, though, it's all over for Snark, but we're going to have everyone collapsing onto Tilted. Zed is almost dead, but the rest of the team is collapsing to help.
Yeah, we see the Encore coming out from Casper. Haven't seen the results of it just yet, but they will get the kill onto the Vex. Dio going to grab one as well. Casper trying to stay alive as Broccolag flashing forward, looking for the kill on to the Carroll support. I imagine he'll get it with the E coming down, but looks like he will. But it's an overall team fight win for Carroll. 3-4-2 is the final numbers as the Rift Herald coming down. We'll also go over to Carroll as well. They got the first one and dropped it in the mid lane. We'll see where they decide to take this one next.
Yes, we are waiting to see to decide. Well, what's going to be decided? Well, I think we have things fixed on our end. Green Runner here on the mid lane. Casper as well trying to defend. Rotating for the next Drake. It's going to be a Mountain Soul in this game. So very much bulkiness that can be supplied for these champions. TP going in the back line.
This is
just
a very
between
deep
Dio
TP.
and Casper, yeah.
So Kratos now looking on to Dio. First grabs a hard skill attack, but might lose his life for it. Going to flash on out the Drake. Below 3k HP now. Tier 2 smite for both these junglers. Will get picked up by the Wukong. Snark trying to stay alive. Green Runner looking for the kill. Not going to find one yet onto this Lulu. Dio has picked up the Vex, however. They're going to turn their focus first on the Broccolag as this Olaf has already picked up 2. Featherstorm coming down, but will not find anything just yet. Broccolag just going to continue to get chased down by this Olaf. It's going to be a shutdown going over to Tilted as Broccolag will fall. So Huskies grab their second Drake of the game, but at what cost? As 3 members fall on their side. They've got a huge wave down bot here as well, and Dio with the Rift Herald means that they could push probably all the way to the inhibitor.
Yeah, it's very possible that was going to happen. They're going to take this one down even without the help of the Herald, so it's going to be a free charge on this inner turret. They're pushing this quite on hard, and it's looking like it might be getting closer to my prediction of a 3 game. It's going to be them going on to taking a lot of damage on these
Big Cyclone from Broccolag. Not going to find anything just yet. Uses the second one, but cannot find a kill. Green Runner's already picked up the Lulu. Looking for one, but not going to find it. But this is Reset City for the Jinx. Make it 3 flash 4. Makes it 4. Another quadra kill. I feel like I'm having deja vu here. We're seeing everything all over again as Snark grabs 4 kills on this Jinx. Hit that Infinity Edge spike and used it to perfection. Things were looking good for Carroll. They get a big push down bot, but just overstaying by a little bit means that they get aced, and a lot of gold goes into the Huskies' AD carry's pocket.
Okay. Yeah, but at the same time, we are going for a very nice push for Huskies on this one. They take down the tier 2. It's definitely not the same as taking the inhibitor turret, but opening up the space in the mid lane is one thing that you really want to do. Tier 2 and Tier 1 in the mid lane of the Husky side is still standing, so the only opening that the Carrolls have is solely in the bot lane as well as the top lane. The 2 towers are still standing, so if Carrolls go for a very focused attack, Huskies know that it's going to be just in one lane, so it's going to be much easier to defend. And on the other hand, the opening in the mid lane, almost taking down top lane as well, is going to be very good for Huskies as they gather here around the Baron pit.
Now, they're certainly starting to position. We saw a similar story in game number 1. That quadra kill gave Snark another full item. Runan's Hurricane finished for this Jinx. Already with the Infinity Edge, up 2 full items, or about an item and a half, really, on the Skeeter. Brocklag looking for the ankle. There goes the Cyclone. They're going to turn their focus first onto the Seraphine, but DOD is on the back line, and he's got his eyes on this Jinx, and she really needs Peel. There goes the Wild Growth as well as the Devour, keeping this Jinx alive. Brocklag trying to pick up one. There goes the Shadow Shirt to Featherstorm in response. Tyler's going down. He says he will not fall yet, but Snark will, to the hands of this Akali, make it 2 over to the side of the Carroll mid laner. They're looking for one more triple kill on to the Akali. Shuriken flip over means that he will stay alive. Abysmal Mist going down, but Tilted grabs the kill on to Zerd. 2 members left standing on the side of Carroll, so Kratos trying to chase down this Akali. Green Runner potentially looking for an execute, but there goes the Tongue Lash, meaning that that's no longer an option. Has the Shroud to potentially keep himself safe for a few more seconds. Another Tongue Lash, and that Abyssal Mask should be coming up soon. Abyssal Dive will not find its target, and neither will the Tongue Lash. Green Runner still alive, has a Blast Cone to get out, lands another slow. TP coming down from Tilted to hopefully keep his mid laner alive. The Super Mega Death Rocket goes just past on the lower half of your screen, and somehow this Akali makes it out. Got 3 kills as well. Really, really strong now is Green Runner. He's been strong for a while, but managed to get even stronger after that team fight.
11 kills to their name is really something of a feat, isn't it? And it just feels like this game is going to be going and going for ages, because every time one team gets something, the other one gets a trade on the other side. But they're going to go deep on this Baron. Tilted is cornering, so is DOD. We'll see how this is going to be contested, Paladin.
This is 4 versus 4. Akali's still in the fountain, waiting on something of an item. There goes a big E. Encore coming down as well. Will land onto just 2. Brocklight still alive. Zard goes into the stasis. The second tower pick up 1 onto Tilted. Zard going to flash on out. DOD flashing out as well, but it will fall to the zap from the Jinx. Kratos picks up 1 as well. Casper will fall. All 4 members involved in the team fight go down. Honestly, that shows the value of how long Green Runner was forced to run around, being pressured by Kratos. Abyssal Dive not going to find the knockup, neither will the Wild Growth, but because his reset was delayed by so long, as the Super Mega Death Rocket will find the kill. The Shroud can't protect you from that. The recall was delayed for so long that Green Runner was in the fountain when the rest of his team was trying to pressure off the Baron. They have a couple creeps. They're trying to pressure Nexus turrets, but instead they'll just get a couple autos off, which will be healed up a little bit here by these Nexus towers. But so strong is this Jinx. We saw when he's able to stay alive and apply the damage, this hyper carry is certainly starting to live up to his name. Nice work here from the Huskies, who have expanded their lead to over 8,000 here now in game at number 2.
Getting very close to a wrap-up for the Huskies on this one, Paladino. I might really be getting denied on my prediction of a Game 3. But to be fair, as you said, Jinx has been growing so strong. Snark 10, 3, and 6. With 4 completed, 4 completed items in comparison to the 2 items on the side of the Xayah. They're gonna go airborne on this one, gets knocked up by 3 people on the side of Carroll. And that was a flash as well, wasn't it? That is very interesting.
Yeah, so Kratos forced to flash away, but he now has got his team behind him. Just 4 members, as you can see Zerd pushing up there in the top lane. Super Mega Death Rocket does not find its target, but Casper is now the target of Snark, and that's an immediate reset, meaning that lots of damage going to be going down. Does not get hit by the first damage from this Akali. Second tower will certainly fall, but not quite yet. Snark keeps his support alive. Dio forced to ult defensively, and they're just going to dive him under this tower and find the kill. Triple kill for Snark as Secretos picks up another one as well. The only member left standing is Skeetzer. Game number 1 was a slugfest, 43 minutes long. Game number 2, not the same story. The Huskies find that advantage, was back and forth, back and forth. They grab onto a lead, they grab the Baron, and they run away with it, picking up a much faster win to give themselves a 2-0 series win.
Yeah, sweep for the Huskies. Must feel really good approaching the final week of NECC, having finished this match of the day. And getting so close to playoffs must really have been something to pull the Huskies to finish this one in a 2-game fashion, because the way the first game lasted, the sluggish pace, the 45 minutes in Summoner's Rift, they said, well, that not this time. Okay, it's going to be us. Whenever we get to that power spike, it was the 4-item jinx on 10 and 3, I believe, at one point. They said, well, I think we can definitely take this one now.
Yeah, and once Snark was able to sit back and not be the target of the focus from the damage of Green Runner's Akali, he was able to deploy so much and practically going untouched in that team fight, securing the win. But that series win for Husky Gaming ties their record with Carroll. Both these teams now 5-2, near the top of the Emergence Heartland division. But a great series here today on the NECC second channel. That's all we've got for you here tonight. That's the end of our cast. Sofchan, I had a great time. I hope you did as well. Fantastic games here on the channel. But that's all we've got here tonight. So thank you all for watching very much. That's all we've got. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.